Hey everybody, how you doing? Dr. Heldman here, Ancient Texts Revealed. This is part 2 of a 2-part video series I'm doing on how to maybe figure out a way to break into the exciting areas of artificial intelligence and machine learning and deep learning, AI, ML, and DL respectively. Let's get started. Should be a good conclusion to this series, and I do hope that you go in and you take advantage of getting involved with an AI career. Let's get started. Now, as you're doing your work learning about AI, ML, and DL, one of the things you're going to wind up getting involved with are called neural networks. There are different types of neural networks. They're abbreviated as N in November. There are what are called convolutional neural networks, CNNs, and recurrent neural networks, RNNs. This is kind of the holy grail of where you want to head in terms of AI and ML, and it's quite a bit more complicated than just getting into the basics of understanding the models and the Python and things like that. And so building these networks means that you're going to have to learn a couple of what I consider to be fairly complicated scenarios, software scenarios. One is called TensorFlow. This was created by Google. It's very, very popular. And this is an area that you might want to target in terms of beginning to learn about neural networks. There's another product called PyTorch, which is equally as they're difficult to learn. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that they are not. They are. Both of these products are a little bit difficult to learn, a little bit challenging. And so the idea would be that you want to get to the point where you're creating convolutional neural networks, and you're going to use products like TensorFlow and PyTorch to do this. Now, the way to do that is going to be, you might want to study convolutional neural networks for, say, images, because they're good at image recognition. Once you're comfortable, you can try building transformers and large language models. Now, in terms of the images, we should talk about that. I want to take a little detour here, go out to the web, and show you someplace that you might be considering looking at in terms of finding out more about how to do this stuff. Now, we've talked about NVIDIA a little bit. These guys are the main players. Like, if it weren't for NVIDIA, we probably wouldn't have the density in the AI data centers that we have today. NVIDIA makes what are called graphical processing units. They're called GPUs. They are much more efficient for processing large loads of data in an AI environment than if we just pass it off to the native operating system. So it's good to know about NVIDIA, but NVIDIA has an entire organization for learning, deep learning. They have products, and they also have schooling for this. So let's take a look at this. Now, this thing is called the Jetson Nano. They've renamed it. It's called the Jetson Orin Nano Super Developer Kit. This thing is something that you could purchase and get involved learning how to use this. Now, the way that this works, it's a little bit dicey getting it set up. It's not bad, but the way that it works is it's a separate little computer that lives on your desktop somewhere or somewhere in your house. You'll have to have a monitor, a keyboard, and mouse for it initially to get it all running and hooked up. But once it's going, then what you can do is get at it across the network using SSH. So it's actually really, really cool. Let's take a look at this particular page a little bit, because it's pretty good. And then we're going to figure out what we would want to do if we wanted to use this thing. You can see the videos, the data sheets, and so forth. We'll come back to that. So this thing is very high capacity. It's a 1.7 times improvement over its predecessor. I have purchased these for the classroom before, and students just love them. They set them up and learn how AI works, how AI is interfacing, for example, with cameras and things like that. Then you can use NVIDIA AI software, and you use what's called the Jetson Orin Nano Developer Kit, the DK, to do the work that you're going to do with this particular device. They talk about some areas where this would be helpful. Now, Vision AI is really interesting because initially when you set up a Jetson Nano, it can look at pictures and make decisions. In fact, this is an old class setting, but one of the old classroom settings was get it to detect a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and the Jetson Nano can do that. So this is the idea. The idea is that you're using this to figure out how NVIDIA works. They have an entire community dedicated to nothing but education, and then how these devices work. And you might wind up finding that you want to get into more devices like this. Now look at what it's got. The AI and performance is a 67 Intel 8 TOPS. Transactional operations per second is what that stands for. It's running the NVIDIA Ampere architecture with what are called CUDA cores. That's something you'll need to know about. It also has tensor cores. It's got a 6-core ARM Cortex processor in it, very interesting. And it has 8 gigs of RAM in it. It has an SD card, and it supports an external NVMe, which is very cool. That's an SSD that you can strap onto this bad boy to get it to do more work for you. So this is really impressive. NVIDIA has not given up yet on these Jetson appliances, and they go from very entry level like this, $249, to very, very expensive. Like you can get very serious with the Jetson Nanos. So here's what it looks like if we were going to go buy one of these things. You can see that you have tons and tons and tons of different choices here. And they have been very steadily augmenting these and growing these devices, so they don't sit on their laurels. You can go to trainings here and get training for this. Let's look at the Jetson developer kits and see what we can get. There's the Aura Nano. That's the thing that we're looking at. And let's see how we can buy this thing. Well, we can buy it through Amazon. There's an electronics company that specializes in electronics called Seed. It's 3 E's rather than 2. SparkFun here in Boulder. And I don't recognize that. Oh, it's Arrow Electronics. So you can buy it through all of these guys. Now, let's go back here to this page and let's take a look at the SDK. So you're going to use what is called Jetpack to get into this thing and begin to work with it. Very cool. Does some really cool stuff. Like I said, my students really love this, so this is very good. It's running Linux. In fact, it used to be, I don't know if it is today, because I stopped working with them about a year ago, but it used to be that they were using a fork of Ubuntu Linux, so it's pretty cool. Now they're using what's called, let's see, Power Models Jetson Linux, so that it sounds like they've updated it off of Ubuntu. And it'll run other Ubuntu distros like Canonical Ubuntu, Red Hat, Wind River Linux, SUSE, Red Hawk, etc. So this is all the facts on this. Now let's go take a look at the training that you're going to need for this. Now NVIDIA has created their own school. It's called the DLI, the Deep Learning Institute. This is probably the place where you want to go. The cost of the course is free. They've consistently managed to work with this and develop it and enlarge it. So it's something that you might want to look at. I have been through this course. It's very cool. Of course, it's all Python. They do a good job. In fact, it's Python using Jupyter Notebooks. And they do a good job of showing you how the code works to interact with, say, the cameras or whatever it is that you're doing. Interestingly enough, there's also the Udemy has a Jetson Nano course. It's $16. I don't know anything about this course. That might be something that would be interesting to you as well. What's my point here? My point is that if you purchase an NVIDIA Jetson, it's called the Aura Nano now. It used to be just called the Jetson Nano. If you purchase an NVIDIA Jetson Nano device, download the SDK, go through the DLI coursework, it's going to really, really help you understand how the hardware interacts with the software in order to bring about a creative solution. This is not in any way close to developing a neural network or a convolutional neural network. That's going to take some time, but this does get you into the deep and dirty regarding AI. So this is a really good way to go. Okay, so those are CNNs. Now, there's a way to build some projects for yourself, and we want to talk about that. So maybe you decide you know enough now, you want to get into the point where you want to build a little AI project. A resume screener is a great idea for a project. There is a thing called a transformer. ChatGPT uses transformers. I'll put the definition up here for you. There's a company called HuggingFace. This was new to me, so I put this up here. You could create a chatbot using HuggingFace. You could create a stock price predictor, an image classifier using a CNN. That's going to be a little bit more of an advanced project. AI-powered music generators. Now, there's some places where you can go to find out more about how to do this kind of stuff. There are tons and tons of YouTubes on this. This is not something that you necessarily need to go to college and do. There are lots of schools that are offering AI and ML training. But if you're interested in doing it on your own, forging your own thing, there's lots and lots of help for you in terms of that. The big guy is called Kaggle. Let's go out and take a look at Kaggle. So here's what Kaggle looks like. This is essentially a competitional site. They have competitions, they have courses, things like that. You can download data sets here. You can check out the models, look at code. Kaggle's pretty cool. And this is one way for you to learn more about AI and ML is simply by diving into Kaggle. This thing's been around a long time. It's very popular. So Kaggle is a good way for you to go in terms of learning how to create AI projects. Another one would be Microsoft AI for Beginners. This is on GitHub. You could download that and install that and go through the lessons that way. That might be helpful for you in terms of finding out more about how Microsoft is approaching the whole idea behind AI and ML. And then here's the HuggingFace site. Again, these are models, data sets, things like that. They don't do the competition like Kaggle does, but it is another way that you could get in and look at and figure out how this AI goes together. Now, there's another thing that's interesting to some people is the idea of ethical AI, and there are actually courses that you can take on AI ethics. The idea here is you want to understand topics like bias. Does AI have bias in it? Oh, you betcha. Yeah, because it was created by human coders, and humans have biases, and whether the coder wants to or not, the bias finds its way into the code. And so there's this concept of we want to make AI fair and without bias, and we want it to be able to explain well. We want to understand the social implications of AI. Now, there is a book that you might consider. It's called Weapons of Math Destruction. I have not read that book. I have ordered it. It's very tempting to me, intriguing. And so that might be a route that you go to look at and see what this person has to say about it. It gets good reviews. And the thing to be aware of is AI isn't just power, it's responsibility. The world needs ethical developers. Do we have that in AI? I think so, but I often wonder, especially when I see the chat being biased in one way or another, or hallucinating, or giving me flat out wrong answers. You've got to be aware of that that's something that you're going to have to address as you're working with these AI, especially the commercial AI products. Now let's talk about exploring some career paths. There are tons. There's one called an ML engineer. This person's responsible for developing and understanding algorithms and the production models, getting something going. There's a data scientist. That's a hot topic. Everybody and their dog, every university is offering, if not a major, at least a certificate or a diploma in data science. And it is exactly like it sounds. That we're talking about data and how data interacts with statistical modeling. So it's a little bit drier than getting your hands on the hardware and messing around with hardware, but it is appealing to a lot of people who really enjoy talking about data. There is an AI researcher. That's probably not you and I today. It's probably the big company things, but this might be a target for you If you really enjoy AI, maybe you decide that you want to get in and research, maybe become a content creator that talks about the new wave in these things. There's a lot of that going on, like Substack and Medium and places like that. You might want to be an ML ops engineer. Now, I really like this idea. Maybe get an ML certification from AWS. They actually have two. Or maybe you get one from Google, or maybe from Microsoft Azure. You could go through the IBM AI engineering course on Coursera. So there's a lot of different certifications. And then I forgot to mention a prompt. Now, what is a prompt? That's a weird word, isn't it? I'm going to prompt you, oh, do you have, the grapefruit spoon type of thing, a spoon so you can eat grapefruit, a serrated spoon. But the idea here with a prompt is you're telling AI what to do. You're telling it what you want it to do and how you want it to do it. So prompts are actually large. They could be very verbose. You're trying to accomplish a certain given thing. So there's a lot to know about tuning LLMs, large language models, using these prompts. And in fact, the large language models themselves, the company that created them, has created them using prompts as well. So prompt engineering is a good area to think about getting into. And there are tons and tons of YouTube classes on prompt engineering. And I should point out that there are lots of self-styled AI and ML experts. Only the guys sitting at the top of the cage. Only those guys are the ones that are really, really expert at this stuff. It's a pretty deep subject, but there is a lot of help out there for you in terms of understanding how this stuff works. Okay, this field is wide open to you. You have to focus. You've got to really have a goal. You want to know what it is you're doing. You want to maintain some humility with this. You got to know that this thing is going to conquer you and conquer you and conquer you. It's going to take a while for you to understand how these parts all go together. I can tell you I don't understand it, everything about it, but I do. I'm getting better. I'm learning more. It's of course a brand new fledgling area, and there are people way out ahead of you in terms of how this has all gotten put together. But these things are going to set you apart. Now, don't chase the hype. Chase the understanding. I really like that. We don't want you to chase hype. There's a lot of hype out there about AI and ML. What we want you to do is chase an understanding of these topics so that you can work in this field. Now, why am I so hot on that? Well, for starters, I think that if you went and you got a computer science degree today, there's nothing wrong with that. It's a coding degree. Chances are you might be replaced by AI at some point, because all of the big code IDE vendors have begun to introduce AI into, and so it makes it a lot easier for the neophyte to code writing to develop code. You could go up to Visual Studio, pull up the AI and ask it to develop a checkers or a chessboard game for you, and it would write the basic code. You could tell it what language to write it in, and then it's just a matter of going and tweaking it. So it's a super good way of learning how things are put together. The problem is it might have not done a very good job in terms of the algorithm that it's using. The code might not work. You have to go in there and tweak it quite a bit. Might cause you hours of getting really, really angry with the code because you can't get it to work. So it is something that you've got to be sure you want to apply yourself to do. And what I don't want you to do is I don't want you to get an expensive bachelor's degree in CS and you think you're going to go to work for an organization writing code, when the reality is that in just a few years you could be replaced by AI. That's the point that I'm trying to make, is that the smart people understand where things are headed, where that ocean wave is headed and where it's going to take me. And then what I do now is I go, okay, I need to know about this. And what that's going to do is make you more flexible, more able to fit into whatever it is that these companies are trying to accomplish. That's the purpose of my goal. I'm not bad-mouthing a CS degree at all. I don't bad-mouth a CIS degree, Computer Information Systems, which is more focused on the back office, the servers and databases and things like that. They're both necessary, but the thing that we don't know is AI is big right now. It's going to get bigger. There's a lot of money being applied to this thing. And so what you want to do is try and position yourself in such a way that you are very, very valuable to others in this space. Knowledge is value. Understanding is value in this type of an arena. Now look, I hope you've been enjoying these movies. I love making them. I really enjoy content creation. I don't have any idea why, but I do enjoy it and I like it. And I always wake up with ideas. I think that this AI ML thing is enormous. And so I wanted to bring this to you. I am not an expert. I am not a subject matter expert in AI and ML. I'm sure I said a lot of wrong things. But what I'm trying to do is encourage you to go, well, now this is a big elephant. It's not going away. I want to learn about it. I want to get involved with that. That's sort of an idea. So if you're enjoying the videos, please share, like this video, share it with others, subscribe to my channel. I am trying to actively grow the channel. I'm not after monetization necessarily. I just really enjoy teaching people. And so I'd love it if I could monetize it, but I'm not anywhere close yet. And also, you know what, feel free to comment. Please put stuff in the comments. Let me know. And have a great day, and I will talk to you in the next video.